Hi, it's Jeroslyn with Black Enterprise, and today I'm excited. I'm extremely excited because I have the pleasure of picking the brain of the executive producer behind some of the biggest hits on reality television. We are talking Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, The Real Housewives of Atlanta and New Jersey, and owns current reigning hit, Love and Marriage Huntsville. The king of reality television, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Carlos King.
Woo!
That was the intro. I was practicing that intro. I didn't even really have to practice too much because it just came out naturally. Okay, so my first question, because I know you got your new podcast, which I'm so excited for. I'm so excited for what you're doing with the podcast and where I see it going. But I want to know, can you just take us back? Because we know Carlos King, the king of reality television. We know you as the executive producer, but how did you get your start from after you went to college and then embarking in a career in television?
Great question. So I studied journalism in college because I was somebody who grew up watching the Oprah Winfrey Show, Ricky Lake, Teen Summit. Ananda Lewis was my first mentor from afar because I wanted to be just like her when I was 12 years old. And me majoring in journalism was my way of saying, let me just test out this like TV journalism world because maybe there's a space for me there. So over the course of interning at various places, I ended up interning at The View. And that was the era of Star Jones, Meredith Vieira, and Joy Behar. So they were auditioning women for that fourth seat. It was between Lisa Ling and a woman named Rachel from The Real World. So that summer internship changed my life because that's when I knew that I'm meant to do something in television, but I'm also meant to do something in television when it comes to strong, opinionated women, right? I was fascinated with watching these strong women have heated discussions over something that was important to them. But then after the show ended, they went to have lunch and have drinks. I love that. So after that internship, I got hired at BET. I was a assistant writer for the 106 and Park show with Free and AJ. And I started to just stay at BET and freelance with them. And at that time, it was 2008. And I was obsessed with this reality show called The Hills, which was the spinoff of Laguna Beach, right? So at BET, I'm around a bunch of Black people, right, who never heard of The Hills. So I would watch The Hills in the office, and we all had a cubicle. And everybody in the office was like, what is this show you're watching? And I'm like, you gotta watch it. It's called The Hills. It's everything. So everybody at BET knew that this Black boy named Carlos is obsessed with The Hills. The reason why I believe in prayer, manifestation, and speaking things into existence, I had no idea that a woman who was working there at that time, she got a phone call to do a reality show in Atlanta. And she approached me and said, I know you love reality. Would you ever consider quitting your current job to do this reality show for 3 months in Atlanta? As of now, it's called Ladies of Hot Atlanta, but it could be a Real Housewife. Would you go? And after pondering it, and I kept saying to myself, if I go to Atlanta, I gotta pay my way there because they only are hiring locals. I'm in New York City, my rent is expensive. But I said, you gotta take a leap of faith because you never know where this could lead you. And girl, I did that show. It was called The Real Housewives of Atlanta, and the rest is history.
That was such an amazing story. Oh my goodness. Okay, so you do Atlanta from there, you do New Jersey. You do more shows with BET and different networks. You were putting shows out there. Was there a specific incident or incidents that prompted you to start producing your own content versus producing other people's content?
Good question. So I was the executive producer of the Real Housewives of Atlanta during seasons 6, 7, 8, and 9. But during season 6, I remember the ratings ballooned to the highest it's ever been, not only for that show, but for any show at Bravo. And to this day, we are in the Guinness Book of World Records for season 6 of the Atlanta Housewives being the highest rated season ever of any show in Bravo history, any show. And no one's touching that record because ratings ain't the same anymore. So I'm somebody who I know my worth. And I said to myself at that time, like, wow, maybe there's something to me starting my own company because I'm such an entrepreneur at heart that I knew that I wanted to lead my own charge one day. So after that season wrapped, I started my company. And granted, it wasn't like I had an office space and employees, but I started the LLC process and did all those things. And the next year, because again, you never know who's watching you, right? I never knew the woman at BET was watching me to do the reality show. So a woman named D'Angela Proctor, who was the head of programming at TV1 at the time, was watching that season of Atlanta Housewives. And she looked in the credits and she said, who is producing this season? Because this season is the best I've ever seen in my life. She saw that it was me. She contacted me. I already started the LLC process of the company. And she said, I want to work with you. Can you create a show for TV1? And together we created Hollywood Divas. And that was the first show my company produced.
Amazing. And when creating a show, what's the process like for getting a network to sign on?
It's a lengthy process. It's a long process. Mm-hmm. Creating a TV show and getting it greenlit is similar to a starving artist having their record play for a music executive and getting a record deal. It's not the easiest thing in the world, no matter how talented you are or how brilliant your idea is. So the process of creating a show is, obviously, you come up with the idea, and then you have to go through the process of putting it together. So that consists of casting, interviewing people, putting them on camera, editing the tape, shooting scenes with them. That all sounds expensive, right? So it's not cheap. Then you gotta package it with the materials of the one sheet. And then you have to pitch the idea to various networks in hopes that they see your vision come to life. Oftentimes they don't, and that's the nature of the business, but you have to keep going because that's how you're able to just perfect your craft. And because I got a lesson in doing that, working on these housewives shows for so many years, I was able to at least have an edge up on the competition.
So now you signed a first look deal with OWN, with through the success of Love and Marriage, and now we got this spinoff, the first official spinoff, the Love and Marriage DC.
Yes.
So now, with any other shows that you would come up with that aren't related to the Love and Marriage family, are they bound to OWN, or can you still shop them around to other networks?
That's a good question. So my first look deal is very different than most. So I'm able to obviously give OWN some exclusive content, right. But I'm also able to give content to other networks too. So I'm not bound to just that one network. But OWN has been such a great gift to me in my career. To have a Black man create a franchise is unheard of in this business. So to be able to do that for a show that I like to call a sleeper hit, because like you said earlier, Love and Marriage Huntsville is still getting some traction. Just today, Jamil Hill tweeted that a friend of hers told her to watch Love and Marriage Huntsville, and she tweeted that this is the most juiciest ridiculousness I've ever watched, and I'm only on season 1. And that's what I like to hear. We have a growing fan base, so I'm able to give shows like that to OWN, but to also other networks.
And, you've been in reality television for years. And how do you feel about the evolution of Black representation in reality television?
Listen, I think the representation of Black people needs to be as diverse as our community is, right? I believe you need to have a very diverse group of cast, group of profession, and storytelling. At the end of the day, what I always tell people is I'm a storyteller by heart. So when I do a show, I look for people that I believe represent the world in which I see us, because we are, again, diverse and complex and interesting, and we have ups and downs in our relationships and marriages and friendships with other men and women. So I want my shows to reflect the real world, and that was the reason why I started my production company, Kingdom Reign Entertainment, because I wanted to be an agent of change.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, you've gotten criticism in the past as it relates to like, kind of creating storylines where it kind of puts women against each other. But I see it differently, especially when I watch Love and Marriage Huntsville. And do you feel like the show does a good job at representing Black excellence?
Well, this is the thing. I'm not here to represent the Black community because one person or group of friends don't represent the Black community. What's interesting though is I have received criticism in the past about, oh, your shows are ratchet. Mm-hmm. What is that supposed to mean? And I always say to people, so 2 Black women having a heated debate is ratchet. Mm. So when you watch The View and you see those women have debates that they feel strongly about, they're not called ratchet. So I definitely think a lot of people have just picked up on a word and decided to run with it without any educational foundation based on the definition of the word. Right. And they like to group us as Black people into one group. Yes. What I find to be so interesting is when you look at the Oscars, right? And you see a Black man hop on stage and slap another Black man. In the world of Hollywood and the Oscars, I told people this for so many years. When someone is triggered emotionally, anything is possible. But the funny thing about it is, if those 2 individuals did that same thing on a reality show, they would be called ratchet. What I find interesting is those same people who call my shows ratchet, some people are celebrating that moment. Oh, well, he defended his wife. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? So again, the beauty of me is I don't pay attention to the naysayers, because one thing I learned from Tyler Perry is when people criticize you, they're doing it to have something to say. And what you have to do nowadays is really look at the criticism and see the truth that lies within it, if that even does exist.
Mm-hmm. And Love and Marriage Huntsville, it's a hit. Like you're saying, it's the word of mouth. Everybody's talking about it now. I told my best friend, I said, girl, you got to watch this show. This is it. And, but I'm coming from a Housewives fan, and I watch reality television across different networks. What do you think the success of shows like Love and Marriage Huntsville say to networks like Bravo, where as it comes to the issues that they face and criticism they face with diversity?
I think the success of Love and Marriage Huntsville has proven that you can find a group of Black friends and couples who may live in a part of town you've never heard of or you've never seen on television. And it has nothing to do with the location, but it has everything to do with the beauty of what they're going through, because through their transparency, they relate to a large group of people. And I think that's what people want. I promise you, there is a small fraction of people who want to see the fist fighting every day and the weed pulling every day. That's a very small group of people. And there's other shows that represent that, and the best of luck to you. I'm not here to judge that either. I started Kingdom Reign Entertainment because I wanted to show the other side of that. And even still, people will have something negative to say. That's just the world we live in. But what I'm hoping is through Love and Marriage Huntsville and now the new spinoff, Love and Marriage DC, is that you do get to see people who I consider to be Black excellence, and not because they may be studious or you know, have this uplifting job. They're excellent because they're able to show you how professional they can be within the works they do, but also giving you guys an inside peek on how their marriage and their relationships may be going through issues that hopefully can help the couple watching it at home.
Yeah. To me, it's a good balance of even seeing their professional lives, the work that they do in the communities, and just their real lives. Now, what captured me the most from when I, got addicted to Love and Marriage Huntsville is it's an element that you don't really see necessarily on reality television. There's no fourth wall. They're really talking in real time. They're going to bring up what happened at the reunion. They're going to talk about, oh, well, when you watch that, because this is just them being themselves, how they're having an argument. So was that deliberate, or did that just happen naturally?
Because I'm such a student of this genre and I've been doing it for 15 years, I know for a fact that the audience is smarter than the average fifth grader, right? So the audience knows that you can't dance around the issue because you don't want to break the fourth wall. The jig is up. The audience knows, look, we know you guys are talking about the reunion. Yeah. When you say, the last time we were together on stage, what are you talking about? It's the reunion, just say it. So I think the audience want more of that. They want more real life stuff. They don't want you to dance around the issue or try to say, my favorite moment on Love and Marriage Huntsville is when Tisha's cousins confronted Kimmy at Tisha's graduation party. And her cousins from Alabama said, no, I saw you on TV playing my cousin. Yes. I love that. And I told the producer and the editor, you keep that in there because, and I'm gonna say this, because that's how Black folks talk. Well, I saw that on the TV, child. And again, when you watch that, you're like,
yes. That's exactly it. So Love and Marriage DC, Love and Marriage DC, Monique Samuels, she's been announcing her return to reality television. And what can we expect?
Expect the unexpected. On Saturday, May 14th at 9 o'clock on Own Girl. Let me tell you something. You guys are going to see a different side of Monique and Chris's marriage that you've never seen on Potomac, ever. Starting in episode 1 and ending in episode 10. Woo. You're going to see the ebbs and flows of a marriage that is on the cusp of celebrating their 10-year wedding anniversary. And I think a lot of people saw Monique as one side on Potomac. I love Potomac. It's one of my favorite shows. I've always been a fan of Monique. I never felt that Monique belonged on that show because I didn't feel like she was somebody who could go along with what that those particular women on that show was about. Right. I always felt that she was the audience member in terms of like, wait, what are we doing? Wait, what? What's happening? Right. So on this show, she's such a joy to watch because she's so present. She's around women and men who she knows and who she wants to develop a stronger friendship with. I've watched episode 3 today, and I sent the team an email saying, I freaking love this show. It's a really good show. It really is. And I can't wait for you guys to watch it.
Oh, I'm so excited. We're all excited for the return, and especially with like the whole debate around Monique and how she left the show. And, you know, I saw a conversation on Twitter with people, you know, saying, you know, like the whole, you know, the thing with Candace and them feeling like, you know, maybe she kind of came at her a little hot, and people were like, hey, she's about to go on Love and Marriage. And it'll be hard for her if there is some character flaws that she has, they will come out. They will be dragged out.
Oh, yes, come on, drag. And listen, the beauty of Love and Marriage Hunstville is you've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly from the entire cast. There's good moments they have, and there's bad moments they have. You can't escape it on camera. So you're right. With Monique, you're going to see the real Monique. And I do mean that. And I'm not saying that to play on words. You are going to see the real Monique Samuels on Love and Marriage DC. And I promise you, you're going to watch the first episode with your mouth to the floor.
Okay, when you made the announcement of that, you know, Monique was gonna star in Love and Marriage DC, Andy Cohen, he sent you a round of applause emojis. Is there a genuine camaraderie between you two?
Oh, absolutely. Listen, Andy walked so I could run. And I shared something with him recently because he also shared private messages to me, congratulating me on my success. And I said to him, I just want you to know, I thank you for paving the way for me. Because at the end of the day, I'm no fool. If it wasn't for Andy Cohen proving to the world that an executive producer who loves the work he does and has this great personality, and he can host a reunion show and do interviews and do it in a way that feels so organic, I wouldn't probably have those opportunities because I would have to prove that it can work. Right. So it's not lost on me that Andy opened doors for producers like me, and I will always give that man his flowers.
That's nice. That's beautiful to hear. So now going into your podcast on SiriusXM, tell us about it. What are we getting? What is Carlos giving us on your new podcast?
What you're going to see is conversations that I'm having with my friends in reality TV, like Nene Leakes, or my friends who are lovers of reality TV, like Meghan McCain. You're going to see a very interesting recap of reality shows. You're going to see a very interesting conversation about my experience producing reality TV for 15 years. You're going to see me interview everybody we love, from the Real Housewives to The Bachelor to Love is Blind. It is all about reality TV all the time. And we got some exclusive interviews with people. So it's gonna be fun. I like I said, I was late, well, 4 minutes late, but still that's late, to this interview because I was just interviewing somebody on my podcast that ran over. So I'm giving you guys all the tea all the time.
Yes. Is it going to be visual or just audio starting?
Both. You got to see this face, girl. Yes.
No, we really do. Like, we really do. And you do such a great job at hosting the reunion. Like, you know, because like I said, I caught up. So I saw the season 1 reunion in Egypt. She did a great job too, and I love her. But you got up in there and you made them tell it. Let's not. And that's exactly what we need.
So the way I host reunions is the way I host my podcast. So I pull things out of people, girl, and yes. It's a fun conversation.
That's what we want. That's why I've been watching reality television. Are there any shows out there that you're not involved in, but you wish you were?
You know what's so funny? The one show that I always said, like, ooh, if I can get my hands on that, was always the Braxtons.
Yes, that was a good one.
I,
That was a good
again, I love strong women.
Yeah.
I love a group of sisters with legacy and talent. So if I could do anything in the world, I would want to bring back the Braxtons.
That's right. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. But even the way you're capturing Melody Hall and just even her journey in music, and she can sing.
Yeah.
You know, you could be on to something. You know, it could turn into something legacy. You never know.
You never know.
And are there any other spinoffs and or shows coming up?
Well, look, we have Love and Marriage DC coming up May 14th at 9 o'clock on OWN. And listen, I have had the fortune of executive producing the biggest franchise in reality history, which is the Real Housewives. So, of course, I would love to expand more of Love and Marriage into different territories so that I can take that education and apply it to that show. So, you know, I'm really hopeful and prayerful, most importantly, that I'm able to do that.
So when you start Love and Marriage Atlanta, the
Work.
okay, Kiana from Ladies Who List Atlanta, she was amazing. We all loved her. We're so sad she left the show. But maybe Love and Marriage Atlanta might be more up her alley.
Okay, and it's funny. She follows me on Instagram, and I love her too. And we've exchanged nice messages to each other. And what's funny is I reached out to her 2 years ago to work with. I wanted her to work with me. I love her.
All right, so there we go. See, we're on the same page. We're on the same page. Thank you so much, Carlos. I'm already so excited for this new podcast. You know, I'm going to be tuned in.
Subscribe, girl. Make sure you do it.
I will. And just thank you. Thank you for keeping us entertained. I can't, every Saturday, I'm so excited. Like, okay, come on. What Martell do now?
Yeah, no, I'm hoping to entertain your Saturdays for a very long time.
You will. You will. Thank you so much. Enjoy.
Thank you, love.